Did you get that booklet I left with Mila?
No, I don't think so.
PSAT?
Segment of the budget.
She didn't give it to you.
No, I already did the PSAT training.
What's that?
I already did the PSAT training.
Oh, they said you didn't.
Okay, yeah, we are back to live streaming.
When did I do it? December and
Okay,
March.
Yeah, the camera does not.
I finished it up and gave you the, it's the first time yearly. The full 2 days. No vendors or anything. It's very good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mila's probably still have it on her desk.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I haven't been there since.
Okay.
Yeah, we are back on live stream for a workshop. It's just the camera does not work.
Do you want me to continue?
Hmm?
Should I continue and just let
Yep.
him know? Okay.
Yeah, just I can't get camera to work.
Okay, Mr. Sinkovich, we cannot get the camera to work, but we're still here and we're going to have the audio. Just want to make sure that you're aware so that you don't expect to see the video, but still can get the
Yeah,
audio.
I'm fine. It's coming in loud and clear, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for rolling with us here. Okay, so we're moving on to the preliminary discussion of the 2027 budget, the refuse fund, the debt service fund, and the general fund.
Yes, so in your packet, you should have received 3 preliminary budgets. We can start with the refuse fund because that's the one that the board has previous discussions. Is that okay? Or did you want to? Sure. So what you would see in terms of the refuse fund draft budget, the draft budget does not include any increase in fee for 2027. However, we provided a short memo that talks about anticipated contract in 2028 with the new trash hauler and anticipated increases. So the question would be whether the fee should be increased for 2027 in anticipation for 2028 increase, or whether there should be no fee increase next year. So this is the analysis that was done based on East Goshen bid results.
So looking for comments?
Sure.
Well, I think we discussed this last time and it's pretty clear we are going to be at least $107,000 behind next year, which we could cover with our existing funds in the refuse fund. But we don't know what the future holds in 2028, so we might have a tougher time than we're anticipating. So I'm suggesting that we have some sort of an increase in 2027 so we don't deplete the reserves we have in the refuse fund. I mean, even if it's just $10 a quarter. I mean, actually, I'd probably get away with $8 a quarter, but $10.
Oh, yes, that's why we were trying to ran an analysis just to determine what the potential increase might be. And it's difficult just based on bid results for just one municipality. But it sounds like it might be 20% increase the first year and then 10% increase every following year. So yes, if there is no increase for 2027, one can assume it would be a larger increase in 2028 unless Peter has any other thoughts on that. You just turn on your microphone. I'm sorry.
My apologies. No, I do agree. It looks like we have to remember we have a surplus in this fund, right? So we're starting out at the beginning of 26 with $562,000 roughly. In the fund, we're projecting to end the year with 1.7 million in revenues, 1.6 in expenses. That's going to give us 591,000 at the end of this year, moving into 27. We'll end up roughly if the numbers, and 27 is a year where we've extended the current carrier, right? So, but we're still looking at a deficit in that year of about 132,000. So at the end of 27, we'll have about $459,000 in surplus, roughly, give or take, a couple hundred thousand, or a couple thousand, not 100, few thousand. 28 is when it gets a little tricky, because that's when we've got to roll out with a new carrier. So Mila and my associate Bill Cloak have put together some numbers, and 28 looks like it can be a substantial deficit of close to 500,000 at current revenue, at current monthly or quarterly billing, which would leave us basically with a small deficit of about $32,000. So you're going to have, you can't end up with a deficit at the end of 28, but you do have to look ahead that far, right? Although 28 numbers we don't have, but you've got to come up with some sort of a comfortable cushion, because we're going in 2 years, we'll be going from $562,000 cushion to zero or negative. So I do think, a proper approach would be to do something in 27 and lessen the 28 pain. Because then you're looking at more, with the numbers, 29 looks like a 700, could conceivably be a $700,000 a deficit. 30 could be a 1.5 million if at the current numbers, right? At the current amount of quarterly billings. So I think we have to head off this rolling train, so to speak, but be fair to our residents, but do something this year, I would suggest. Next year we'll have hard numbers to make, more accurate decisions, but this year we got to do something.
Yeah, once the contract is bid out next year, and once we get the proposals, then you can plan 5 or 6 years, depending on the contract terms, how to cover the refuse fund.
Exactly.
So how much of a cushion do you think we should have going forward in that fund?
The PSATs recommends to have a surplus, maintain a surplus in your fund balance of 3 months revenues or expenses, whichever is greater. So, for
So that
example,
gives us 1 quarter.
yeah, exactly. So if you look at your expenses in 26 at 1.6 million, you're looking at 400,000. So you're looking probably between the 1.7 income is what, 450-ish, I guess. So I think if you come up with between $400,000 and $450,000, you're taking your fiduciary responsibility responsibly.
So if we don't make any changes in 2027, we should close out the year with a surplus of around 400,000. So we've maintained that.
You'll be fine.
But we need to look at if we want to increase a little bit in 2027 so that the increase in 2028 isn't so stark.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so you've got, and I'm going to do this in my head, which is always trouble, 3,300 paying residents, right, times 10 is 33,000 times 4, right, is 36912, 120,000. So, you'll end up at the end, if we do that, if we raise it another $10, you'll end up with roughly $100,000 at the end of 28. Or actually, no, you'll end up with, because that'll be for 2 years, so that'll be 120, that's 240.
Mhm.
So you'll end up with about $210,000 at the end of
At the end of 2028?
2028, yeah. Because you'll have 2 years of that increase included. You have 27, 28 increase included in your revenue stream. So
Is that with the 143 to 144 a quarter or just $10?
it would be $10 a quarter. $10 a quarter is roughly $33,000 a quarter.
Okay.
So 33 times 4 is 120. 134,000. So, and if you have that for 2 years, that's 270,000 roughly. If you're looking at a deficit of 30,000, you're looking at 240 roughly at the end of 28.
Right, but if we increase it in 2027, in 2028, we'll have a surplus. We won't have a deficit.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, that's all things remaining equal, right, Bill? That's theoretically, because you'll have, not only will you have 27's revenue, but you'll have 28's revenue.
And we don't really know what 2028 will be. Like we have, you had given us the numbers of 143 to 145 a quarter, which might be a great number. And then we're just not sure yet, but raising it $10 now kind of cinches that.
You'll be right. In 28, you'll have a surplus in the fund. And then at that point, you'll have gone out to bid and you'll have a new carrier, right? And you'll be able to more accurately determine exactly what the quarterly fee should be. I mean, Mila and Bill put together 29 and 30 estimates, and they're pretty big,
Right. But
but she's based it on
20%, yeah.
neighboring
Percent
communities and what they're paying, what they're seeing their increases. So it's close to real.
So, but if we do nothing now and we keep it at 130 in 2027, we're still going to have a $400,000 surplus.
Yes.
So the only reason to increase it now would be to make the jump not hurt as much.
In 2020.
In
In
2028.
2028,
Exactly.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would be pre-planning your 28 surplus. So, and that's why I would recommend it, because then you will then have hard numbers to make determinations as to where you want to take it.
It's not going down. Yeah.
I would not see it going down unless we start looking into like auto loaders. But then it's not compare apples to apples. I don't know what the contract is like for auto loading versus manpower like we have. And there are other things that go with that, like yard waste collection and all other items, bulk pickup and other services. So
And I don't think the fee that you're contemplating raising it is significantly different than any of the other neighboring communities.
So what if we did something like $8 this year and $8? Obviously, we don't know what next year's going to be, but halfway. Because it looks like we're going to have to do about a $15 per quarter increase over the next 2 years. Not additionally, but over 2 years.
Mhm.
So we could do like Tom had said 8 would be a good middle ground.
So you're saying this year?
8 this year with the guess that we're going to do 8 next year, but by then we'll have more numbers to know what it will actually be.
We just don't really have enough insight into 2028 to make any assumptions. That's why I was suggesting I mean, you can get away with 8, that's fine, but 10 is a nice round number.
That's a nice round number.
Yeah, that's what we did last year. It was 10.
Yeah.
It's 120.
And then before that, I believe it was 100. It went $20
Yeah,
increase.
big
It went from 100 to 120. Any other discussions or questions on any other line items under refuse fund? For revenues, just would like to note that we did get our recycling grant, but I believe that one was for 2023. So it is that behind, but we did receive the funds, so we expecting the other, hopefully recycling grant. The same for, you can see, delinquency is kind of similar. It's been between 16,000 to over $20,000 per year. That's what we generally see. Hazard waste reimbursement, we anticipate, close to the same amount, about $1,500 to $2,000. So not many options in terms of revenues. And then on expenditures, just one item I would like to note, we will be working with Peter and Bill here on revising the salary spreadsheet and kind of how the salaries are feeding into overall budget. So that budget that you see for administration, refuse, payroll, that might change as well. We have to look at it very comprehensively in terms of how much time specific staff spends on specific tasks and which fund that money should come out of. So that there would be a little bit of change there. Other than that, it's probably still pretty close to what it was in 2026.
Big numbers.
Yes, and then we also talked about municipal credit card fees before, whether there is an opportunity for not the township to pay those fees, but for the resident who is using municipal. So on top of the trash fee, they would have to pay the credit card fee as opposed for the municipality. So that would lower it by $11,000. So we can look into that as well. A lot of municipalities pass on the credit card fee to the consumers now. So if we do $8, potentially $8 increase, and no municipal credit card fees, salary readjustment, so maybe $8 would be enough to cover it for right now.
Yeah, I would really look into that.
If you just turn on your microphone, I just want to make sure Mr. Simkovich can.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I have to keep turning it on, I guess. But anyway, yeah, that would be a good, I've highlighted that, so we'll look into making sure that we can get, if we can get that passed through, we'll do that.
And it might actually encourage people to maybe pay differently to not have to pay the fee.
So that's the refuse fund, and then we also prepare a debt service and general fund, which one would you like to do?
Debt service is pretty simple, so
Okay.
we can knock that out pretty quickly.
Simple is good.
So, that debt service fund, in front of you, as well as that all that principal and interest schedule per year. We did highlight 2027, so we can see what type of debt the municipality is paying for. We have 2021 road bond, which was a consolidated bond that included several projects. 2022 bond was for Boulevard Park construction, so that's for the athletic field, for improvements. Then 2024 Series A and B, so Series A, that's for open space acquisition and easements. So the way that Percolate Reserve was purchased, even though the township received great amount of funds, grant funds, we had to front the money. So the township had to borrow funds to be able to purchase the land. So, and then for easements, that is to place easements on 4 residential lots, on Fairview Farm. And then 2022 Series B bond, that's for county, funding for county grant. West Town Township received a little bit for $4 million. The $17 million reimbursements every year. For 2027, there is $1 million reimbursement that we have. That will be the last. The 2025 Pleasant Grove pump station loan. That's the loan that the township has taken out to pay for the construction of pump station. And if you, the next schedule, you can see that we should be able to pay off Series B bond by the end of 2027. And gives you a nice overview of the total principal and interest. And I don't believe there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity to pay Pleasant Grove pump station loan early. When the township took out the loan, the idea was depending on construction cost, whatever is left is that right away. But the construction has not been completed yet, so we don't know what the final cost. But we might be able to pay off that loan sooner rather than later. Any questions on that schedule? So when you look at the debt service fund, that is going here in terms of where the money coming from. So all those interfund transfers that you can see, we budget on a monthly basis. We transfer funds from different funds into debt service. So for open space fund, that pays for level position, sewer fund, or general fund, that pays for those 2021, 2021 that's where the sewer projects are. And then 2022 bond, that's a general fund. So you can see in terms of the proposed budget, what we can anticipate in terms of principal and interest for next year. Any questions?
I have lots of questions. Sorry, I'm not trying to be difficult. When I look at these bonds, it looks like a lot of them have, I'm not necessarily high interest rates, but 5% is probably more than what we're getting for our cash that we have in money markets, right? So should we look at trying to pay off early some of these 5% bonds with some money that we have available?
I'm not sure. Bonds for.
You can if there's a call provision.
Yeah, we'd have to learn. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we need to examine that.
Okay,
Although they're fairly substantial amounts of
they are.
debt. So, and you know, in 24, that was the cost of borrowing in 24,
Right.
you know. But no, and it's funny that you say that because Mila and I did talk about that prior to this meeting. So, yeah, that's something I think we definitely need to keep our eye on because right now, the highest interest rate that we're earning is at Univest. It's 3.81. I mean, things are just gradually going down. All of our funds are invested well,
Mhm.
but 5% is not there anymore for us. So yeah, we'll have to take a look at trying to mitigate that. I agree. Because that one's, due in 53. Now, the other one, the 27, the smaller, the Series B, that's gonna be paid off,
Yeah, so that would
sometime
be,
next
Next
year.
year.
yeah, that would be paid off with money from from Chester County. So we usually submit for reimbursement January, February, and we pay this one off. So that would be like $1 million, and we would pay $995 for the principal next year.
Yeah.
And I think this 2021 consolidation was done to take advantage. You can see it's a lower interest rate. I think that's why it was consolidated. I don't know if Tom remembers.
I'm not sure.
That makes sense, though. Yeah.
I can just add real quickly too, the fund is healthy. We're starting off in 26 with 883,000 in the bank. We're anticipating revenue of 3.494 million, expenses, which are principal and interest, are 3.390 million, which is going to leave us with 987,000, almost $1 million at the end of this year in that fund. 27, we're projecting 3.4 in revenues, 3.3 in expenses. So we should have a little over $1 million in this fund at the end of 27. And as Mila had said, the money that comes into this fund are transfers out of the general fund, open space fund, and the sewer fund. And one thing that we've done, we've done this, or preliminarily done the general fund, the refuse fund, and the debt service fund, and we've checked that the transfers out of the general fund, or the two general obligation bonds, agree with the revenues in the debt service fund. So once we do the open space and sewer fund budgets, we'll make sure that those transfers coincide. But this fund's doing okay. This fund's doing okay.
Well, as long as the other funds are doing.
Yeah, right,
okay,
exactly.
that hit this fund.
Yeah, this one is fed by the others. Yes.
Yes, yeah, so if once we know the cost of complete construction for Pleasant Grove Pump Station, depending how much money is still left on that Pliget account, we might be able to just return the rest of the money back and pay it off early.
Well, we can only pay that bond from actual sewer revenues, though. So I mean, we can't move things from general fund into the sewer fund.
Well, yes, I mean, like whatever left in this Pliget account, because this is not in general fund. I think it's a sewer, designated
Okay.
sewer fund.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, funds are restricted to sewer
Right.
expenditures. Yes.
Any other questions on that service?
Now, this one probably isn't going to change a lot, right? This fund.
Well, that service, only if we anticipate going after any other large projects in the next couple of years. So another pump station or park improvements, something that would require a loan or a bond.
Right.
But if there is no anticipation for 2027 at least, then this is a preliminary budget for that.
Pretty close.
well, we haven't gotten into capital projects yet, but the only capital projects that we ever even talked about, and not that seriously, is this building. What are we going to do with this building? Are we going to improve it or replace it or whatever? So that is,
Yes, it's
but
huge.
that's a couple of years down the line.
Yeah, yeah, and then we'll talk about capital projects at the next meeting, because I just wanted to give an overview of the general fund and that service. And I know that refuse fund has been one of the priority items as well, because you might want to increase the fee, so we'll get to capital projects.
Which one is the Pliget?
So Pliget, we have a couple of Pliget accounts. So the Pleasant Grove Pump Station loan is in Pliget as well. Let me just see, is that, because we have, so from all of this debt we have, it's US Bank. US Bank, I think it's Fulton, US Bank, and the Pleasant Grove Pump Station loan was MAT, I believe.
Mhm.
But we hold the money in Pliget account for that loan. Yeah. And we are earning interest on that money. So next fund is general fund operating budget, and this is fairly rough draft so far. So I'm not sure whether you wanted to go page by page or an overview. Peter can provide an overview overall for the general fund. Sure.
I don't know, I
Okay.
just had a couple of quick questions that really, I don't know when they should be asked, but under revenues, for some reason, we have not done anything with the gatehouse. That was a source of revenue for us for a long time, and it's vacant, and I don't quite understand why we have done nothing with it.
Yeah, so Mark and I spoke about Gatehouse. Originally, the idea was that Public Works employees would do some improvements to it, just a fresh paint and a carpet. It seems that the damage is fairly extensive. There is a plaster that's fallen off. So I think Mark was looking into different contractors instead of, so we have to invest some money into the gatehouse before it could be rented out. And I can get an update from Mark, and with the having to deal with the pump station and 2 road programs, it has just not been a big priority, but it does need additional work before it can be rented out again.
Okay. And under revenues are commercial building permits.
Yes, those are,
Way down. What's going on there?
they're way down for 2027?
Uh,
Yes.
Yes,
So, yes, so normally we'll see about 60 to 80,000 dollars worth of commercial building permits. This year, 2026 was very unusual. We've had really large projects. West Town School, several projects, Sarah Stockweather Elementary School. That's why we collected such an extensive fee. This is a Sarah Stockweather, the fee that you were seeing here. So for 2027, we anticipate, and again, we are end of August now, we might anticipate the Spotless Car Wash. There would be a fee associated with that. Might be Dunkin', might be the Sabatino Landscaping. But it's hard to estimate. All those are retrofits and redevelopments, while the Sarah Stockweather is quite extensive project because the way that the commercial building fees are calculated is based on the estimated value of work plus different items like square footages and things like that. So that's why it's unusually high. I think we would probably collect more than $60,000 next year if all these land development projects would move forward, but it is difficult to estimate what that would be.
is the West Town School Dining Hall, is that,
West Town Dining Hall would be a part of it as well.
so
So
it could actually be considerably higher than what you have here?
it could be. I'm always afraid to overestimate because like with Chase Bank, it took them longer than what we
Right.
anticipated. So, but yes, it could be higher. We might be looking at close to $200,000 in permit fees for commercial.
Okay. And I was looking for, under proceeds of fixed asset sales for the revenue when we sell Darlington Inn. I couldn't find that anywhere. Is that where it would be?
So that's in capital projects, I believe.
Oh,
We
that's
moved it in
capital
capital
project? Okay.
projects. Yep.
Okay. But that,
Yeah, I saw it the same way. I believe it's in capital projects.
all right, so we're talking a couple $100,000 there at least.
I think we budgeted $500,000 last time.
It's a little ambitious.
But it included the sale of real estate and then a couple of vehicles that we
Okay.
had. That's what they constituted $500,000.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have on revenues. Uh,
Peter, would you like just to provide a general overview?
Sure.
Sure.
The general fund, looks like it's, gonna be okay. We're starting off with, a fund balance cash of 7.6 million in the beginning of 26. We're looking at, revenues of, 8.365 million, expenses of 9.332 million. So we're looking at a surplus in that fund of 6.684 million as of the end of 26. Right now, the way that the budget stands, and there does need to be some work on allocation of salaries to departments, I think, right, Mila?
Mhm.
So there's going to be some tweaking there, but the revenues right now are 8.3 million, the expenses are 9.2. So we'll end up with a $5.8 million surplus in that fund, which is, although we're whittling it down, it's very, very healthy. And it's something to keep your eyes on.
And you would see some of these. So 404 legal services, for example, we talked about it a little bit last year, where they just have one estimated cost for any potential legal type issues or separate into different categories. So some of those items that you see here might not be applicable anymore. So, but the reason why we kept them there is because you can see that they were included in previous budgets. So that page 7, like Crabbilly Farm acquisition, legal fees, Stokes. So Stokes legal fees, that was for conditional use hearings. Sentis, I believe the property owner moved out of the township. Ice rink legal fees that had to do with the settlement between the ice rink and the township back in 2019. Delinquent and on-lot legal fees for on-lot programs. So sometimes they appear in the budget, but we don't anticipate most of them in 2027. So they would probably be removed from the budget.
If I could just add, so I took a look too at our 26 budget in the general fund, just globally, and the expenses that we budgeted were 9.2 million, and the expenses we're projecting are 9.3 million. So we're very, very close. We're approximately $100,000 on a $9 million, so that's pretty good. The budgeted revenues were 9.262 million, and we're projecting 8.365 million of collections. So, and what we've been doing here on an annual basis, it appears, is we're using surplus to balance our annual budget. So we used $903,000 last year of surplus to balance our budget. So like we, the 9.2 million that we budgeted in revenues included 903,000 of surplus.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's how we got close to our expenses of 9.2. And that's the main reason why we're off by $900,000 from actual or anticipated actual 26 revenues to budgeted 26 revenues. So as you can see, we started off with 7.6 million, and then at the end of 27, we're anticipating 5.8 million in surplus, which is still a very healthy fund, but it's gone down a little, almost a little more than $2 million in 2 years.
Yeah, there are still some unknowns. So as you know, under emergency services, we do not have information on how much increase we would anticipate from ambulatory services or the fire companies. So that's still to be determined. Under street construction, there is a policy that was adopted by the supervisor some time ago about designating a specific amount of revenue towards the road program in addition to liquid fuel funds. So that's what you would see on the street construction. It's $350,000. I think originally it was about $250,000. So that's been designated every year for a couple of years now. So in addition with the liquid fuels, it gives you a little bit over $700,000 for annual road program. See if any other.
So, I mean, if you look through the general fund budget, just a note, the expenses, there are quite a few expenditures that normally municipalities pay out of their liquid fuels fund that you guys pay out of your general fund. And I understand your liquid fuels fund is mainly used for
Construction, yep.
road construction, right? But you know, highway construction, which is a $720,000 item this year. Proposed 27, we've got bridges and maintenance, which is another 11.5. There's $10,000 in tools and machinery. I'm assuming that's road related.
Sometimes it's maintenance, yeah, park maintenance.
Yeah, or park stuff, but there is a lot that you guys cover in roads that are normally funded by the state
Mhm.
out of liquid fuels dollars.
But liquid fuels are going down though, as a trend.
As cars become electrified, right?
Right.
I mean, they're not paying
Right.
the gas tax,
Right.
which is how we get our liquid fuels monies.
Oh, now gas is expensive, so maybe it's gonna sustain itself.
I mean, yeah, but it's a fixed,
It's a fixed rate, yeah.
It's a fixed rate of
Mhm.
the excise tax on fuel is fixed. So, but I'm sure, yeah, it's gonna be affected.
I have a silly question. So for liquid fuels, we get a certain amount, right? So we
Correct.
know we're going to get it. Why are our expenditures 720,000 in 2027, but we're expecting to receive 370,000? Are we spending what we've gotten over previous years too?
Yes,
So how it's-
yeah, because
Oh.
we did not do road program in 2025. So it's 2025 liquid fuels plus expected 2026
Okay.
plus 2 years of budgeted street construction on the general fund. So that would give us $1.4 million for this year to do road construction,
Okay.
which we would like to do.
Okay. Thank you.
This also does not include any request in terms of Westchester Public Library or commissions or committees. So this is just a very preliminary budget to let you get familiar in terms of different budgetary items that we have. And if you have any preliminary questions, just let me know or let Peter know if something that stands out.
Yeah, and just getting back to that 3 months revenue and expense, as far as a healthy fund is concerned, I mean, with at 5.8 million and expenditures of 9.1, you've got, you know, close to a full year's worth of expenses sitting in your bank. So you're from that gauge, you're very healthy.
Yeah, and then the franchise fees as well, they've been going down as well, like franchise fees with Comcast. Gradual
Yeah,
decrease.
people do streaming,
Yep.
that revenue source is going to go down.
When do we want to kind of nitpick on the smaller items to question those? I don't know if this is, or are we going to be going over?
I mean, we're gonna be going over this again. I mean, we have time. We are trying to collect all the feedback we can. So when we put more better preliminary budget together, that it answers some of those questions. So yeah, if you have any feedback.
Right. Well, I mean, these are not big numbers, but I mean, our newsletter, we had questioned about, do we want to continue doing what we're doing? Put it out less frequently and save a few dollars. I think we only, I don't know, it's this year, it's going to be 2,500.
Yeah, so
versus
this year it
8,000.
is 3 times, 3 newsletters. Yeah, it is up to the board whether you would like to have 4 times a year, which is based on seasons, or 3 times a year because we have 3 supervisors. And in the past, there were considerations not to do printed newsletters, but it seems that a lot of our residents really enjoy getting a copy in the mail. We can go back to consider that. Also, in the past, we allowed for advertisement in our newsletters. So that's how it was paid in terms of for printing it. But then you have a newsletter that has a lot of ads in it as opposed to just a community community newsletter. So yeah, that comes up every year. There is no right or wrong answer. It's all about what you think makes sense.
Could we save any by having people opt in to receiving it electronically?
We could, because the way that we do mailing, just every property owner receives one. We would have to do it ahead of time, like before it goes out to print, but that would save us money, that's for sure, if people would choose to do it digitally.
Well, postage has already gone up twice this year. I think
That's
it's going to
true.
go up
Yeah.
yet again, from what I understand. So that's something to consider. And on that note, one thing I've never understood is on our billing for on-site program, we send it out 4 times a year, even though most people pay it for the entire year, yet we still continue to send out 4 invoices, usually for $0 for 3 of those.
Yeah, it's
Why do
just,
we do that?
it's because it's administratively, like easier for us just to print for the entire township, to print utility bills that includes entire township versus have 2 separate lists. It's just more work on administrative work. But we talked about it before as well. Because when you deal with thousands and thousands of printed bills, it's much easier just to send them all to print versus create different lists and saying this one's only gets printed X, 4 times a year and this one twice per year. So
Are you sending the zero bills out then?
Yes.
Yes, well, it's because it's both. It's trash and sewer. So people who are on public sewer would get trash and sewer, and people who are on septic, they would get on-lot fee on a quarterly basis. But a lot of people, what they choose to do, because it's a pretty small fee, they go ahead and pay at the beginning of the year, right, for the entire year. And then when they get that trash bill, it would say 0 for septic.
There's got to be a way to be able to not bill from $0.
I would think you're right. I think there's got to, I mean, I don't know what kind of system they're using, but there's got to be, it's almost like an accounts receivable system that, you know, you log in what's owed and then they reduce what's owed by the payments and then you just print anything that's,
Yeah, it's a city share system. So that's what we use.
like, just bill, yeah, just print what's.
What's
what-
due.
Yeah, what's due. Can we mark that down? Can you look at that, please?
Yep.
The first class mailing can be close to $1 a piece.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It adds up. And you can see it in the budget as well for postage. It's just the cost going up for mailing and postage. You would also notice that interest earnings have been going down. So we are not earning that interest that we used to in Pliget accounts anymore. It went down quite a bit. So it went down from $149,000 to $5,000. But also I have to look back. It has to do with the amounts that are in those Pliget accounts. Because we have a Pleasant Grove pump station. Is it open space fund? If the money don't sit there for too long, that we do not earn that interest.
Under traffic control, we're going to spend $35,000 for streets, runs, lawns, and margins. Are we actually going to be doing that? Because this year they will spend.
This year, yeah, I did ask Mark. I believe we would do some of it, but not all of it. Not the entire budget, from what I remember.
So we can adjust some of these with Mark. Based
Hmm?
on, so we can adjust some of these things that Mark can. let
Yeah,
us know.
because you would see in previous years, it's been like in 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
So that would be a good questions. But it also ties back to the road program. So if you do road program, that might become a part of that.
Is sewer based on usage? Is your sewer bills based on usage or are they?
It depends. So yes, for non-residential, it is based on meter readings. For some, for others, it is based on, for schools, it's based on the number of students. And then everyone else is a flat rate. And if you don't meet a specific threshold for meter readings, then you are flat rate. So we have multiple layers. Last year, we've done a study, kind of an analysis to look into the sewer fee structure, and it was determined that it was self-sufficient for now. They looked into the debt, how much debt we have, including construction of a Pleasant Grove pump station, to see if there was a need to raise the sewer fees, and it was determined to be not to do any increase. and to reevaluate once the pump station is constructed and once that debt is paid off, to see if there are any other capital projects when it comes to wastewater. Then there would be a possibility of a sewer increase if there are future large projects, like improvements to another pump station or force main repairs and things like that.
So we've had some success in putting these types of things, charges on the real estate tax bill. That goes out once a year. I know now you're billing quarterly. So that's a big collection process. Now you've got a quarterly collection process. So and I don't know who does your real estate? Does the county do your real estate?
No, we do our taxes, we send out,
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah.
So all you have to do is get the printer, get the amounts to the printer. It's something what we could kick around, but you get to the printer, get those on the bills, and usually your collections go up because you're talking about a mortgage company's paying, and they escrow the payments. So it's something we can look at.
Yes, if we can improve collections process that costs less money, but then we can consolidate some of those bills. We also talked about last year, the same with postage, just to send one that has 4 vouchers for 4 quarterly payments at the beginning of the year. So this way we don't have to do 4 mailings. You already have it. But it would work for residential. For non-residential, we have to wait for meter readings to be able to do that.
Yeah. So that might be an option. Eliminate a lot of overhead.
Um,
Are we really, from what I understand, we really have nothing planned.
yeah, so there were discussions before that America 250 event is not just for 2026, it is also for 2027. Some other municipalities are planning events, different activities for 2027. I didn't know whether our committees and commissions, or the board, or the township staff would come up with additional programming for next year. So this is just a placeholder. If you decide to do any large events next year.
So as Jody says, I think a lot of these smaller items have to do with Mark and his work, whether it's with equipment or the parks or whatever.
Yes, and he hasn't had a chance to take a look at this this version of general operating budget yet. This is just, we were trying to put together to show kind of a broad overview of revenues and expenditures and different line items that feed into the general fund. And if something stands out right away that we could work on, like for example, Westtown 250, if the board does not plan or is not encouraging committees to work to plan for any sort of events for America 250 for next year, so that line item can come off. So just kind of looking for general feedback. And if you have a bullet list of different items that you have maybe questions about or concerns about, just feel free just to email me and then we can incorporate that into the budget. Any other questions?
Mark had mentioned to me about the 10-year periods coming up for a lot of his equipment. Is that reflected in this?
Some of it, yes. So some of it you would see there's a section on public works. It talks about different equipment. He does have a vehicle replacement schedule. So yes, I will go over that with Mark and see what needs to be added or taken off this budget. The same for like maintenance equipment for parks. That's all gonna fit in this budget. Sometimes some of those items end up on the capital projects. We do not have a policy about what constitutes a capital projects. Some municipalities really set up either the monetary value, so anything above a specific threshold is automatically a capital project. So that's why you would see some of those projects are in general fund, and some of those projects are in capital fund. And we'll go over that next month. That's all I have. I don't know if Taylor has anything else.
Okay. So I should call it to a close.
No questions?
Do we have any public comment on the workshop items?
Anthony Simkovich.
Oh,
Hey, folks. Just two things. One, on the first item on the agenda, the open space on the West Goshen letter, did it seem to be any reference at all to an open space plan? Are there any discussions or have there been any recent discussions regarding any kind of collaborative open space that kind of stretches the borders between Westtown and West Goshen?
Not that I am aware of. Usually we just receive the request to review the draft plan and provide any feedback or recommendation or any concerns. This specific plan that West Goshen finalized did not really raise any concerns because it primarily focuses on interior of West Goshen. It's not a trail plan. No, I'm not aware of any projects. At least West Goshen did not approach us to do any sort of collaboration on any of the projects. Maybe in the future.
And the lady that was in a couple of months ago was talking about the trails. Was she from West Goshen, or was it a nonprofit or a private organization that was talking about potential plans going down to like Chad's Ford? It was a trail, like a
Yes.
bike trail.
Yeah, I believe you are referring to Carrie Rose Camp. She is with the Turk's Head Trail Group, who is working on a trail from Westchester Borough to Wawa.
Correct.
Within the SEPTA corridor. So no, West Goshen's Parks, Recreation and Open Space Plan does not focus on regional trails, so it's not part of their plan. I know that it is a part of the Westchester Borough's plan.
Okay. And one last question. If there was to be some kind of collaborative venture proposed by one township that kind of crosses over the other, would that involve both townships' rec park groups to collaborate, or how would that process work?
So it all depends what it is. If it's a planning project, so if it's a regional trail type of projects, then the involvement would be limited to the Board of Supervisors because every municipality has various parks and recreation commissions and groups with various duties and responsibilities that might not match, so to say. So for regional trail projects that would require capital investment, I would think that would be the Board of Supervisors. Or we collaborate with other municipalities through Westchester Area Council of Government Group as well.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate the
Sure.
input.
Sure.
any other comments from the online audience? Okay, well, then we can close out this meeting. Thank you, everybody.
I will restart Zoom and I'll just take about 5 minutes trying to figure out if I can get camera working. So just try to connect when it's available.